From the county of Devon in little old England, I give you Diana Tigwell.
Well, a very, very good evening to everybody, and welcome to week 27, of course. I tell you, this is notching up, isn't it? For a year when we had COVID, and apparently we weren't going to have a lot else, I tell you, there has been so much happening. And tonight we're going to take a good look at it and things that are still to come as well. So, as I said earlier on, when we did our little preview, we've got a bit of a mixed bag on things that are happening, things that aren't happening. We're going to stick around as well, because later on we're going to be doing a little bit of a back-to-back with trials now and back in the 1970s. So make sure you stay around for that. That's going to be absolutely priceless. International briefs as well, of course. We've got Dave Marsh. We've got all our local bits and bobs. Dave talking home front as well. So many little snippets of news. But there is one really big bit of news that's just happened. It's absolutely fantastic. It's been one heck of an event. And against all the odds, we'd better start with our quiz and hold that one for a second. Stay put, because before we go into it, and to me, it's one of the events that really has just knocked the socks off everything. Before we do that, we're going to talk to Mr. David Mitchell. So hold the thought. And David Mitchell, are you with us, sir?
I am, indeed.
Okay. Are you ready for skullduggery?
If you really want it, yes.
Oh,
you seem to be more keen on the other item.
I am. I'm desperate to get to it.
So I'll drag it out then. I'll teach you to mess me around.
Are you ready? No, string it out. Here we go.
Well, good evening all. Hope you're all fit and well wherever you are in the world. And I hope you got pen and paper ready to get all these answers down. Do we have the first slide, ladies and gentlemen?
On its way. There we go.
Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, we asked the age of vehicles. How long has your 4x4 been going? And basically, you can see that we gave an example of Land Rover, 1948, 72 years. In the next slide, you'll see that halfway down, I actually put Ford and Bronco. I was a bit disappointed because I thought all the experts out there would have actually picked me up and said, you're not right there. Because, of course, when you think of Ford, you actually can think of the Jeep going back to the Second World War. So if we can go on to the next slide, which I'm not seeing, but I'm sure it's there, you'll see that we've asked for another 5 questions. And the first one is the Jeep. So come on, all your Jeep people out there, let's see how you pick out between the Ford Bronco and the Jeep Ford, and give us the years and how long they've been going. And there, for those other people who've got Subarus, Suzukis, Fiat, and International Harvesters, give me their ages as well. So simply give me the vehicle and age and how old they are, if you can do the arithmetics. And that's it, Diana. Back to you for an enjoyable evening.
Well, here we go. We've got your rules and regs as well there, David, don't forget. Yeah, so all those are on there, and we'll get that posted online afterwards. So all the questions will be up there. Really, it's anybody get all their answers in, and then you will pick the names out of the hat or the closest.
The one who can come up with the most correct answers, that makes sense, will get a nice prize donated by Diane again.
And the last one's on its way, I promise. Excellent. Thank you, David Mitchell. That's superb. So hopefully, just while you're there, hopefully we're going to hear more from you later on in the season about various other events as well. Any news on?
No, if you look behind me, you can see that there's the 1971 and 1970. And there's the traces I did for the 1995 Hill Rally. But I can't talk about anything after Hill Rally, after that at the present moment, in tonight's programme.
Darn. Okie dokie, as soon as. Right, so there we go. Thank you very much, David Mitchell. That was skullduggery. I will catch him out one week. I'm dying to know what's happening up in Wales and what's been planned, but we will.
It's wet at the moment.
That's all we're getting. I just keep seeing those posters. It's all little hints all the time, isn't it? However, things have been happening. Oh, Giles, honest to God, he's got his little effects out again. So, as we said earlier, one of the events that did happen was a remarkable event, and it was a whole new thing for this year. And to introduce us and tell us a lot more about it, we've brought a few people in to talk us through the whole event. First of all, it is, of course, the MD of Oct Wow Europe, Mr. Richard Crossland. Richard, welcome to the show again.
Hi, Diana.
Wonderful to see you here. This is great. The whole event has been amazing. Now, hopefully, we've also got Danny Roderick. Danny, are you with us? I think I've just seen Danny just checking in.
I've seen Danny there.
Yeah. Have you got your mic on, Danny?
Oh, yep. Danny's there. There he is.
Excellent. You're all comfy? Let's see if we'll get... Danny should be able to click on the mic on the bottom just in case. And also, hopefully, we should have Key Dunlop as well. Have we got... Oh, there's Danny. Fantastic. Have we got Key with us as well yet? Has Key made it?
Don't think we got Key yet.
No, I know he was going to be a little bit late. Danny, can you check that you've got your mic switched on? There should be a little icon down there on the bottom.
Yeah, he's on. He's on.
He's on? Okay. Okay, talk to us, Danny. Are you there? You all right? All comfy?
You've got to remember, he's from deepest, darkest, dankest language.
There we go. Fantastic. Good, good.
I think
Right,
we've got lack
so
of
we'll hopefully have-
bandwidth. It's a bit choppy, but
Yeah, I think
we'll
it's
just
gonna
have to see how it goes.
It'll be a
Yeah.
little bit- We'll keep going with it. Good. Excellent. Now, Richard Crossland, what an event. The BF Goodrich Essential 2020 at Curtin Off-Road. Now, I remember a while ago, it was John Stones who first introduced me to Oct Wow years ago up at Ripley Castle. And he had a huge screen and it was on the side of his wagon and it was playing some Oct Wow footage. And I just thought that is quite extraordinary. Now, tonight, we're going to take a little look behind and a good look at the Essential 2020. And that's an event that's got so much more behind the title as well. The whole thing with Oct Wow that you've brought to Europe, slightly different to the American version. So talk us through the Essential 2020. What actually is the event? What's the heart of the event?
The heart of the event, it came about from the King of Britain. That had such a feeling about it, the King of Britain, that none of us realised would have. The team all agreed that we had to do something else. So we have a very close tie with Curtin Off-Road Centre and John Stones, always have had. And I knew if there was one place we could go at short notice and get it put to bed quickly, it was there. And immediately John's like, right, what do you want to do? Because you guys normally come here and tear the place to pieces with lots of heavy machinery and start creating things. And I normally keep them in place then because everyone loves them afterwards. So we went up, had a quick look round and then said, right, all this soil here, can we just dig it all out and all this rock and then create something really nasty? You know, and we created the Gatekeeper. But that was just John being Cork Sport, being, you know, the relationship we have. And I knew then at that point, once we got the council's blessing, we could then put on another event in 2020 because I think a lot of people just wanted to come out and play again. And
talk us through, Richard. Where did the name come from, Essential 2020?
I think it speaks for itself. You know, it's essential. Off-roading is essential. You know, coming racing is essential. Keeping off-road motorsport alive is essential. Because my concern now is if due to COVID, more and more events can't happen, people may end up just going, you know what, let it fade and die. Let it fade and die. It's we've got to keep pushing this forward and we've got to keep pushing for events to happen.
Exactly. And we all saw what happened after Foot and Mouth, and it was just terrible for years. It took a long, long time to recover. So I think, you know, like you say, it was a really tough event to set up. It was really tough to run and keep running. But it was a total triumph. In the end, you had, of course, Chris Bowler up there designing a cracking course for you as well.
He does his, yep, old Shaggy, as we now call him, because his hair's longer than yours. You know, but yeah, Chris created an epic course there, very, very fast, very technical, and it really put it tested everybody.
it's not easy when you've got UTVs and, you know, all the different classes. And of course, you're running a whole new class as well, the CRRs. Do you want to talk us through that very quickly as well?
You know, the Winch Rally Raid class is something that proved really popular at Britain. I said we'd invite them back for the Essential. And the way the guys fit in, the way the guys have just gelled with us, you know, it's been like they should have been with us all the time. Mm. And it's something that, as I said at the prize giving at the end of the Essential, you know, you guys are part of the family now, and we will carry on with this class. We'll develop it with you, you know, and make it something that they really, really want to come and do.
It did. It really, really was found. I mean, honestly, it was a fully testing. It was a heart stop. It was adrenaline pumping, torturously brilliant 7K race course, plus nearly a 2-kilometre prologue as well.
Yeah. And again, you know, it's leading up to the event as we're seeing more and more areas go into lockdown, more and more infections per day. Everything was going up. We were like, is it going to happen? Is it not? Is it going to happen? And we, speaking to the council, they were happy for it to keep going. They're in a green zone, so there was no issues there. We ended up on the Wednesday or Tuesday evening with 58 entries. And then by the Friday lunchtime, we'd lost 18 due to different lockdowns around the country. You know, it's life. It's how racing's going to be for the foreseeable future.
And a good call by those drivers to pull out as well, because sometimes you have to do that. It's tough, it's hard, you know, but the right thing to do. So, you know, it was, everybody was doing thing they needed to make sure it stayed absolutely crystal. You've got Tilly and Drew with you as well, as usual, all set up on the superb live commentary, which I've got to say is just getting better and better. And Ian Cherry had absolutely excelled with the Turkey Magic, and you had cameras all over the place. Loved your commentary, Richard. I have to say that was very real and kind of say heartfelt in places.
Okay, now let's be honest. It's horses for courses here. And the unfortunate thing about the Ultra 4 Europe family, we all have multiple hats to wear. So whilst I've got Drew and Tilly doing one thing, someone's got to speak. It had to be me, unfortunately. So I apologise to everybody that heard me ranting and raving for a good 20 minutes at a time per heat. But, you know,
it was fabulous.
Leave it to the professionals. I'll try my best, but no, those guys are good at what they do.
But you also, of course, you had somebody then, I'm hoping... fingers crossed. I'd like to introduce another very, very special guest. I absolutely adore this man's work. Paolo Baraldi, are you there? Have we got Paolo?
The Italian stallion. I can see him.
We need to unmute Paolo if we can. I think he's muted, Giles, possibly.
I've sent the link to ask him to unmute, so hopefully he will.
Okay, there we go. Paolo, fantastic. Are you there, sir?
Good evening, Diana. Good evening, everybody.
Oh, so pleased to see you. I just absolutely love your work. You absolutely capture, and I think Richard obviously is going to agree, you totally capture the spirit of that event. And I'm going to pop up a couple of pictures while we talk. But I love when you do the profiles, Richard. I mean, it's priceless, isn't it?
You know what? I mean, this guy, just let everybody know, he drove from outside of Milan to Scunthorpe in a very small car, you know, because he's part of the family. Paolo is part of the family. With him being Italian, he knows once you join the family, you can't leave. And it's amazing. His work is amazing. And you're right, it does capture the essence of the event.
I just love it. But Paolo, listen, we can't hold you too long because you're out for an evening with friends, I think, at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm with friends, but I take some time for you guys and for say hello to everybody, to Richard, because it's right, Richard. Now Ultra for Europe is become my UK family, my new family. And I love to stay with that guys, and so proud of that.
Well, we absolutely love seeing the photographs. And of course, with Off-Road Lifestyle as well, your own online magazine, your articles are just brilliantly written. They're superb.
Thank you. I try to do my best with I'm not a writer, but I try to put in the article my emotion and not the story of the car, what they do in the race, something like that. But I try to transfer some emotion that I bring from the race.
I think you do, and some of the photographs. If you go onto Paolo's website, look onto Off-Road Lifestyle, it is glorious. And if you track back through, there's an incredible interview you did, and very few people, I think, have done one as well, with Mr. Richard Crosland too.
No one has done one. He's the only one I've ever done. End of.
And it's beautiful. It's absolutely, you did that so beautifully, Paolo, as well.
Thank you.
It really was.
You like my work, my job, and is very important to me. That is very important.
We just love it. I've got one more. We've got a lot of photos. There's one more profile pic will pop up as well. But we've got a lot of photos throughout this evening, which we'll show as well, Paolo, because when we get to the car, the action shots, that's when you absolutely come alive. And honestly, make Armageddon look quite beautiful.
Thank you. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful what I saw in the race, because there I saw people both from both sides, organizer and competitor, with a very determination to race and to make a very great race. And this is nice to saw in that period. Very nice.
And it's what you actually bring out in the photographs as well. And you are an international photographer. You've got a history in some incredible. I mean, we spoke to you right at the start of Off-Road Worldwide Live. You came on for us, and it was just so interesting to hear your history. Maybe one day we'll record the full interview with you, and Richard Crosland and I'll interview you. How's that?
Yeah, mine normally involves a warehouse, a chair, a bucket of water, and a 24-volt battery. I'd like that. Yes, that'd be a good one.
No, I'm thinking more a cup of tea and a biscuit. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
But listen, Paolo, we have to let you go and enjoy your evening with your friends. But thank you for allowing us for all this time to share your photographs as well, because they really are absolute works of art. And people, honestly, do go and have a look at Paolo's website as well. But thank you, grazie mille for coming on tonight, and godita questa sera, if that makes sense. Which is, I hope you had have a good evening. But Paolo Baraldi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Diana. It's a pleasure to me to be part of your life, and thank you also to Richard and to all the Ultra 4 core team, because the amazing stay with that guys. Thank you very much.
An absolute pleasure. Richard, would you like to say anything to Paolo before he goes?
Brother, go and enjoy your evening. We're always good with that. And again, I can't thank you enough for all the work and promotion you do for me. Thank you. Go and enjoy.
Excellent.
Have a good evening, guys. Good evening, Richard.
Have a great time with your friends, and say hello to them for us as well, won't you?
Okay. Okay. Bye. Good evening. Bye.
Take care, Paolo. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
He's just so lovely, but honestly, world-class photography, and it is absolutely brilliant. Just photos, when they're coming out, they just absolutely capture every time. So we had one heck of a lineup on the start. We had a cracking prologue with Dave Adams. We've got Kevin Bates, Chris Booth, Jim Bubb. There's all sorts of people like Philip Harpotis, Tom Britton, Key Dunlop, who I think has joined us now. We'll come to Key very shortly. Peter Jackson, Jim Marsden. What a start line. It was absolutely extraordinary.
There was a lot of big names there, and there was a lot of horsepower there as well. And it was our prologues aren't anything major. It's just literally deciding the starting order for the following day. And the guys went out and tactic. They did really well with it, because then, with it being a rolling start the following day, you need to be up at the front and get away from all the carnage that could happen behind you. Yeah,
well, we've got a really, really lovely picture. And this time we have to thank Thomas Drewski as well. A beautiful picture from Sita Pravda. Thomas, absolutely, that just stunning, isn't it? But this is the thing with Oct Wow, it just lends itself. It's so aesthetically pleasing, isn't it?
You know what? When you've got 20 vehicles lined up in a heat, all revving and revving and revving, ready to go from the start line, it's really quite spectacular. And then when they all go flying off the line, it's your heart's in your mouth. Put it this way, yes. I'm thinking this could be an insurance claim coming. But no, they were all great. They were all good. The Winch Challenge guys had never done that before. And they behaved immaculately with each other, which was great to see.
Well, let's take a little walk down the line. Wonderful bit of a commentary from Drew Wright here. He is getting so good at this. So we'll just have a little watch of the first bit, see the cars off the line.
Hello, welcome to the 2020 Essential. Racing is Essential, sponsored by VFG. I'm Drew Wright, I'm on the start line. We're at Curtin. As per normal, it's raining. Let me just flip the camera. Right, so, runners and riders in the first heat today. Ultra 4 cars. Peter Jackson in front, did a blinding first lap yesterday in the prologue. Jim Marsden, stalwart in the Bad Penny. Danny Roderick, king of the Hammers car, in third place. I thought he was reserved, actually, to be honest. Phil on. All right, Dad. Rugged Radios, Buzz Sweets. Right, that's Raf's old car. Sorry, camera's all over the place. Richard Hopkins, long-time MSA fan, decided to come out and play with us, which is great. He's not a slouch either. Shabs from Synchro Racing got a little electronic fault which they cannot find, but it's running at the minute, so keep your fingers crossed for that. So Kieran Dunlop in the Jimny, Darren Brooks did rapid lap in King of Britain and has now put his big boy pants on and joined us in modified Legends class. Beresford Brothers lost a tyre in the prologue yesterday and still managed. Always thumbs up, always smiling. Luke Clayton, brand spanking new car to Luke in the modified class. Then it's Andrew Brooks and Ed Cobley. Let's see if they can destroy any more course furniture. After that we've got Craig King in a Legends car. Thomas Britton behind him in a new Legends car as well. Sterling effort from Thomas there. Then it's Ryan Dunn, who will be with us very soon.
But you
And
can
Mark
hear
Dean.
them all firing up.
Chris
ready for the
Roberts.
off.
Right, so let's get this show on the road.
As they get going off the line there, it's extraordinary. Now, Dan Roderick, I'm going to come to you because I know, Dan, you have to get going and shoot off to work very shortly. We're going to show a couple of videos of you a little bit later on as well. But for you, you had such a good event. You appeared to, some of the stages, some of the sections that everybody was really struggling. Dan Roderick, you just made it look so easy. That course suited you, didn't it?
It did, yeah. I mean, I've done quite a bit of Curtin over the years. Richard's has always put the other events on that have appealed to us. So we've done Short Course and Rampage and other things, and quite often it's quite kind to us. And for some reason, my car seems to like it, and yeah, we find grip where everybody else seems to not find any. So.
Well, I know we've got one later on when we come to the Gatekeeper, which is one incredible testing section in particular. We've also got Key Dunlop as well, who's joined us now as well, and we will come to Key a bit later. The reason we've come to you, Dan, a little bit earlier is because obviously you've got to shoot off for work shortly. But you and Dan Thomas, just talk us through your event, because it must have been so exciting to still going and going and going, and you're watching others dropping by the wayside.
Yeah, we knew that in the heat racing we've fell victim before to trying to hunt down people and taking your own race away from yourself. So we knew that laps were the absolute king. So we wanted to set a nice pace never try and let too much of a gap appear between us and Jim and Peter, so that we were always keeping on similar laps. And the game plan started to work. Unfortunately, in the first heat, we got to the gatekeeper on the last lap just with too much traffic, and we robbed ourselves of an extra lap by about 20 seconds we missed out on. So we're a bit downhearted about that. But yeah, we just kept trying to plod away. Luckily, on the first heat, when we did need to use the gatekeeper, it really was a walk in the park for us, and that gave us a lot of time back, because a minute or two in each time, and we drove up and off we went again. There was no winching and no getting back in the car and all the other things that slow you down.
Well, look, we'll carry on with the story, and hopefully you can stay. Just if you have to go, do shoot off, but to stay with us, because what I love about your car is that car. I mean, it's a brick car. You've done and finished King of the Hammers.
Yeah.
That is something else, isn't it? It's a very quick rounder for that, Danny. Whilst we've got you.
It's a car that was built in a unit in Yorkshire many years ago with no real. I didn't know what was coming. I couldn't have predicted some of the adventures it'd take me on. And yeah, as you say, the pinnacle for us. We got ourselves on the main stage at King of the Hammers, something I could never have envisaged. And yeah, we went and did our thing. And just like the gatekeeper at King of Britain, luckily the bits that were difficult over there, we didn't have too much trouble with them. We just did our best and plodded our way through the day. We weren't the fastest, but we probably had the biggest smiles, I would have said.
I think that's something, Richard, that Ultra 4 Europe has really brought, is that chance, that shot to get out to King of the Hammers, isn't it? Mr. Crossland.
The road to Europe, the road to the Hammers, it's everybody follows Ultra 4 because of King of the Hammers. That's the facts. And when we came up with the concept of bringing the road to the Hammers live to the European competitors, it gives them the chance to go and compete in the thing that brought them to Ultra 4 in the first place. It's that pinnacle. It's the ultimate race that you want to go and race in. And it's something that we aim to carry on when we can get the championship back up and running again properly, and actually, get more guys over there year on year.
Excellent. I just love it. And I think for you, Danny, I know we had an interview at Goodwood when you were up there, and we had a chat about it. And the pride of that moment when you actually got on that finish stage, I think everybody was at a lump in the throat. It was just so special for you.
Yeah, unbelievably special. Something I will treasure forever. And even it gets mentioned in passing like it's not as big, but Goodwood itself, ever getting chances at Goodwood, simply due to the fact of owning the car and doing the racing we're doing, things like that still blow me away. We have a small family and close friends team that get us at where we get to. So getting invited to things like that, let alone the Hammers, is massive to us.
Well, you do.
Danny, you've got to remember that you look at Danny, he's up there at the pointy end fighting with people with budgets that are not just a few times, but more than 10 times his. This guy is working nights tonight, for instance. He's got a young family. He's trying his best to support them. And yet he still comes racing. He outperforms a lot of guys on much bigger budgets. He has literally no sponsors, and yet keeps knocking it out the park. And he epitomizes some of the, just some of the essence of what Ultra 4 is about.
And I think the Giles Customs team has got so much to be proud of for this weekend, and we will be coming to Key Dunlop very shortly as well. What I want to do is very quickly not very quickly at all, but we're going to run through some of the other bits. You never do it quickly. But it was great to see the crews that usually aim probably more for challenge or rally raid sector. And you brought them all together for the CRR class, challenge rally raid class. For me, wonderful to be able to see them in action in such an extent with deliberate punch sections set for them. And for 2 pins, that's the road or off-road course I would have taken. Given half a chance, I just love to see them. And it's really exciting to see the crews getting a chance to show what they do now. We've got the Wash Extreme, of course, there's other events that give them a great window. And we do have a good base of clubs and events, but it was really good to see them here and at King of Britain, of course, out on a very visible course and adding another layer to Ultra 4. That was a great addition.
You know what? these guys just amaze me, and I am so proud of them for coming along. One thing many people don't realise is that course, as Danny and Kieran will tell you, beat you. It beat you. And these guys, for every heat, had at least 75% of them start line.
Yeah.
On every single heat. And you can't fault these guys for that. They come back in, they're straight on it, they repair, they get themselves back out there. That's their effort, and that's what they're about. It's amazing to see. And they are a credit to, and a brilliant addition to what we do.
Well, we had, Simon Warden and Austin James. They took an early lead in the Winch Challenge Cruiser, the Winch Rally Raids. They had Jim Bubb and Mike Brown right on their tails as well. Some great names there, Dave Adams and Paul Cullen, Golden Oldies. I love them. Hope for me yet, maybe. But they had a nightmare of an event, but there was still a smile at the end of it. We had James Switten and David Needham with Wab Racing. That car, so much history.
My favourite car.
I love it. John Norton, Connor Billing. Now that Bread Fan Racing, that's another whole story right there. And for the mags, it's superb, a great competitor, and been through it to get there as well. Sam Webster, Henry Essam, a tremendous crew. Those two, really good crew. Team Goodwinch, heck of competitors, and hopefully, I just hope Sam's still holding on to the Off-Road Motorsport Hall of Fame bonnets for the next time we do it. That's a whole other story. Tom Sharp, Tom Jolliffe, JP Equipment Racing. Some incredible names in there. But there was always, as we watched it going on through, you could see there was one team that was really, really beginning to take it on, and it was looking good. Alan Sharp and Alex Wilson, of course, Team Sharp.
A rolling coal himself.
They just absolutely extraordinary. And they had such a good event, so much experience. They're full-on international competitors as well. And, of course, they just held it. They went in there, they did the job, they came out, and, of course, they took the class. And this is them coming over the finish line. A masterclass in the winch sections. But could you explain when you get into the winch zone, bonus points, and that was what really boosted their standards as well. How does that fit in with the rest of the course for the other cars?
To make it fair for all the Winch Challenge guys, it's some are running 200, 300 TDIs. They're never going to be the quickest. So you've got to give them a chance to get.
I've taken the video off.
A chance of winning. So the reality is, if they're very good at winching, they can go into these sections, and every single punch they get, they were given a quarter of a lap credit. So they may not be able to black round at 100 miles an hour like some guys do. They had a different race strategy where they would go into the two winch sections, get as many punches as they could in their allotted time, get back out again and get round on the course. But it still meant they had a chance of getting somewhere, and it's that format that worked for them. And again, it's not all about horsepower. It's not all about out and out speed. It's about strategy, especially in that class.
Well, it certainly worked for Alan, that's for sure.
You do for Alan, though, wouldn't it? Because if anybody knows Alan Sharp, that guy turns up with a plan, will walk everything, adjust his plan, and he knows exactly what he needs to do to have a chance of winning.
Well, they make a great team, but of course only one person, because of COVID, could go up and collect the trophy. But what a great win for Team Sharp, superb. Also in the lineup, we saw the UTVs. That's a class that's growing all the time. And I know Ian Gregg's flat out as the main dealer of Polaris at the moment, UK, and hopefully he's coming on OW Live very shortly, maybe November, December, I think. Huggy's already been out with his latest, the Polaris Iceman. Very successful. And of course, Fulham Papotas has been successfully competing internationally right at the top. Recently ninth, I think he was ninth out of Breslau. But what a great crew. And there's a lovely, lovely picture of him. And of course, took the prize on the day. Great driver.
To say Phil on is now what, 68? He's an old man now, bless him, and he does really steady. I think after got at least 3 jumpers dirty. He may have to go out and buy some more grey jumpers because he likes the grey jumper. And he's certainly got at least 3 dirty in that race.
Well, he did superbly. I loved the legend on the top there, of course. Own the Knights, down to Rigid Lights, of course. But what a great team there. So we had a really incredible mix of cars going on, and I have to thank Thomas and Paolo for some of these pictures as well, because it really shows the whole feel of it. Just some incredible machines. But my God, it was one tough course and took some nerve. And I think we've got a video somewhere. There we go. This is where you had to use the strategy. Now, I think Danny might have had to go, but if Danny's still here, you're going to love this, because this was a wonderful moment. And we have to thank Shabs for a cracking bit of commentary as well. This is Key and Danny, and a little bit of an overtaking manoeuvre from Danny. Absolute class driving. So
UTV, that isn't it? Oh no, it's Key. Come on, Key. So that's Key Dunlop, Craig King, Phil on, and then Danny right at the back on the horn. We're all taking that right line. Danny's gone left line, try and get ahead of them all. Oh, he's pushing. He's done it, almost. Almost past all of them. So he's got one more car in front of him, which is Craig King. Key's miles ahead at the minute. There's Danny, just jumped into third. And then Key's just gone up the hill. Danny will make it past this car in front of him easy enough. Get a bit of space.
I just think that's
There's two lines going up the hill.
Class. A bit further on. Bit of driving. That was just superb. Absolutely brilliant. But the pain was being felt, and the grinding mud was taking its toll. Sort of the mud up there, sort of darker version than Torres Long Valley, actually, which is kind of like a mud sand. And to be honest, if you go too fast, it strips the paint off your car. It's so bad. Sam Webster and Henry Essam they'd had to find the energy somehow to change the entire axle. I think it's the front axle overnight. And I'll show you how desperate things were getting. Shavs Piercy, what an event he had. It just is so heartbreaking. But what a brilliant picture. And we have to thank, I think, Anna Baxter for that one. But there he is. They had to wait for the gentle giant recovery of the glorious rapid recovery. And that Goliath, it's just really a Goliath of a recovery unit driven by Paul Bayliss, of course, of that. And you know you're in safe hands when that appears in view. But Danny Roderick, what an overtaking manoeuvre that was. That was pretty darn brave. Have we still got Danny with us? I think he's had to go. Don, we're just going to come to it anyway. Never mind. But that was such a brilliant bit of overtaking manoeuvre, and I think through gritted teeth, and it really was through gritted. But everything was gritted. I think by the end of this slot, the Trojans absolutely battled on. They just had to keep it going, didn't you? So I think it's again one of the favourite cars. The stunning photography is just superb here. I think that was actually James Whitten, wasn't it?
Yep.
Just a look at this. But they made it. They got through to the finish, and it doesn't matter what it took. And they tried everything, and they did everything that they needed to do it. But my goodness, I tell you, it really took it after you. Key Dunlop, what an amazing you and Danny had with that. JS Customs, superb. From the word go, though, Key, you were absolutely off and running, weren't you?
Yeah, I was always like, I always know I'm not really going to finish in the top, so I just go with it, see where I can get. We're a bit unexpected, really, to get number one.
We watched all the way through, and just the way you and Danny drove, you were absolutely on a par with it, especially when it came to that hill, the gatekeeper. You both absolutely nailed that, didn't you?
Yeah, well, we always, when we go out playing together and in the Jeeps and everything, we always try and find the most stupid tracks and everything. So that type of stuff, we absolutely love it.
Well, it certainly showed. We're going to just go back a little bit because there's a couple of other crews I want to show. And we had Peter Jackson and Giles Hirst as well. Really burst out the blocks at the start. A cracking early lead, kind of still had it at the end of the day, but my goodness, it was just so wet. And
Peter's long due a win. That vehicle should be top 3. You know, it's up there. It's up there in terms of engineering. It's up there in terms of the equipment it's got on board. You know, Peter Jackson has been driving in Wins Challenge Series and other things for many, many years. So the whole team is very experienced, and it's just he has some of the worst luck I have ever seen any team have.
Well, he had the legs off the line, but
yeah.
But there was, as I say, there was that hill, and here's a couple of fixes. This is there's Key on the hill.
There were only 2 cars that drove that every single time, and it was Danny and Key. Awesome job.
And I tell you, you cannot believe how steep it was, and unless you actually see it closer, it was really steep. We've got a little video of Danny in action on the hill here, and this is what I was saying. Just Peter Jackson had just got caught coming up it. Well, if that will play out there.
Watch your back. Meanwhile, we got Jim Marston here taking the bypass, which he's allowed to do.
And that's, of course, Chris Bowler did the commentary. Now watch this next bit. That's, let's say, Peter Jackson really struggling.
Down the bottom here, Danny Roderick is coming up.
See
Danny's driven this before all the way. Absolutely stunning. Danny Roderick there, straight up, no winch and off.
See, that's years of practice of being on police interceptors, isn't it? You know, that's why you can't catch it.
It was absolute poetry in motion, as was this. And this time it's Keith coming up the hill. This is how you did it, Keith. So beautiful. Again, we've got Chris Bowler, your course designer, on commentary.
Key Dunlop now in the gatekeeper, just getting himself ready to pick a route.
I'd say just absolutely sublime as Tilly just disappearing off around the corner. But I'd say that made it look easy, Key, but it wasn't the same for everybody. And I think this picture absolutely sums it up. I'd say there's a video that goes with it. We hadn't got the heart to play it out.
No.
I think.
No, it took him about 10 minutes to get up that slope, and then he was about 4 foot short. And it's like, no, really?
Yeah. I know, it was just, and how, and I think the windshield had kinked back. So, of course, it whipped it back down. So, it'd have to go all the way back down again to get the rope to carry it all the way up through. But Key Dunlop, I mean, really, just an extraordinary drive from you. That Jimny is incredible.
Yeah, it finds grip where I don't know how it finds a grip, to be honest. It's unbelievable. It's tough. It just keeps going. It's brilliant. The worst luck I had with the wipers, he kept blowing the fuse. So I did a lot of it with no wipers.
Oh my God, I've got Dave Marsh here as well. Dave, very quickly, because you're a big fan of the Jimny yourself, aren't you? So just have a quick chat with Keith, because I'd love to know a little bit more about it.
Congratulations, Keith. Fantastic result for you. And we come at it from different ends, really, but it's great to see the car go so well. What do you think from a engineering perspective is giving you that edge? Do you think it's down to some of the weight that you're not carrying, or?
Yeah, maybe so, yeah. I always wonder myself, to be honest. I'm not too sure. The last upgrades that I've had with the Nissan axles, the 40-inch tyres, that's just changed it all completely for me. It's been a lot better car since then, a lot easier to climb all the obstacles, everything else. Last season I did all the upgrades and it's been absolutely brilliant since. It was good before, it's just even better now because you're not scared of breaking things the same, so I can I can rev it, I can rev it without being scared.
And what about the final drive ratios? You changed that to give yourself with that bigger tyre size, or?
Yeah, I've lost out a little bit there to how I used to be with the different axle ratios and the bigger tyres. On the video, you could see I was revving it there. It weren't happy to pull second, so I ended up having to just keep it lit in first, which still worked out. It was trying to burn the clutch to go up in second, so obviously to save the clutch, I just made it work. Limited it all the way, yeah.
Does that inspire you then, Dave?
Well, it's funny. We're playing with the same issue with gearboxes and ratios from first to second as well at the moment. So, but we got a gearbox on the drawing board at the moment to actually overcome that problem. But it's interesting to see that balance in a completely different. And of course, I suppose key the size of the car as well has got to be an advantage to you in some areas.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty long. It's a 108-inch wheelbase. It don't look it, but It is really long, and I mean that helps a lot.
I just loved it. I just think the way you drove it. We're expected to see it out there as well now, Dave Marshall. I'm looking forward to this. But listen, some of the crews
always got an invite if he wants to come and play. I
can't wait. But some of the crews must have found something even in the tank, even at the end of this absolutely soul-deep battle to the finish. And Dean and Chris Mason put in a cracking last heat, and that would be prize enough. When in the last heat, it's just prize enough just to finish. It just took a Trojan effort. And there were a couple of comments which I will read out from a couple of the crews. From Team Breadvan Racing, at the end, they said, well, that's a wrap. Memories made, adventures had. Curtin, it's been a pleasure. Until next time. And I think that's lovely. You had Ed Cobley there, so from James Eyre. And one very happy crew, captured by James, said, loving it through to the end. Ed Cobley just loved driving. I think that was his first Ultra 4 event driving too. But
he's going to come and bring a car next year, Ed, apparently.
I love it. I tell you that.
Yep.
That'll be something. But there were two cars out there at front. There's a very clean Dan Roderick's car, and of course the man himself, Key Dunlop, which is just lovely. So here's the 1 and 2, the podium lineup for Jess Cousins Racing, just fantastic. We've
got to remember, Diana, that Kieran also got the Spirit of the Event Award.
I was just exactly what I was just coming to.
Apologies.
No, that's all right. Limpy over the line last time. And what an adventure, the way superb crew work between them all as well. And Danny's driving, as we said, was A1 caliber. It's just as clean as. But as you say, Key Dunlop and Mick Sager and the whole team, first overall, first ever winners of the Essential 2020. And to add that extra shine, Richard, run us through the much coveted the Spirit of the Event Award, the real teamwork that takes.
The Spirit of the Event can go to anybody. You can go to a marshal, it can go to absolutely anybody, but it's about capturing what we do and what we want to create as a family of racers. And Key realised Danny was having issues, so he's on his own radio to his own pit crew going, I need to, what's wrong with Danny's car? And they're trying to relay back what's going on. And then he would pull in, collect tools that Danny needed, take them out to him, stop, give him the tools and carry on, just to give Danny a chance of being able to fix and finish the race. And I don't know if he did it once or twice or how many times. It seemed to be constant. Every lap he finished, he would literally stop, get something else, and off he'd go again. And whilst, in theory, we had a sort of limit on how long you can carry on after that final hour's up, or half of the final heat. You know, when we heard Danny still carrying on and still moving, the clock was running until he finished. And we had pretty much everybody else that had finished stood near that start line, clapping Danny over. And the only reason he managed that was because of Kieran. That just epitomises what the spirit's about.
And there is only one winner at the end of it, and it was indeed Key Dunlop. It was you, and what an event for you! You must have just been so proud at the end of that, of your own driving, your own crew, your own team, Mick, everybody all working together so well.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, just unexpected more than anything. I think it hasn't sunk in yet, really. That'll come first.
You did, and you did it in style too. So, you know, I think you've said it on a couple of times, it is your whole team, isn't it? That you all think of yourselves as part of the machine. Oh yeah, we all put together. It couldn't be done if not. It's a team effort, and everyone, even to getting the car ready, everyone comes over. We was all there the week to it, and everyone's coming from all different places. Yorkshire, like Lancashire, everywhere. Everyone's coming from everywhere to help. So it's brilliant. Yeah. Well, Keith, thank you so much for coming on and talking us through it, because we were so proud. I just honestly just loved it. It was incredible to watch as well. It was just beautiful to watch. So thank you for braving Zoom as well. You've come back on again now.
Thank you. Cheers.
But Drew,
well done, Kieran.
Cheers. Thank you.
You know, this whole thing it's so important, I think, for everybody, and you can see it for everybody that, you know, we have to thank you massively, because for putting on events like this, I think it's done so much for everybody right across the board. And next year, hopefully, we should be showing a full day's programming on a Sunday with events from around the world and events like this, and doing the whole, you know, so meanwhile, back to the studio sort of thing. We're all set up. We've got a revamped studio that we're setting up now, and it's so easy to do it. So we just need more content like you've all provided at the weekend, with the driving, with the filming, with the live. It's made it just so good to watch, and hopefully it's going to be an incredible Ultra 4 Europe year of competition next year as well. So Richard Crosland, MD of Ultra 4 Europe, we thank you massively for this. We've got a bit of a real scoop, and it's so exciting. It made my heart pound just to see it, and I don't even compete now. So for everybody else, this is going to. Yeah, it's going to be quite exciting. Would you introduce the final image for this overview of the Central 2020? And when you're ready, say the word, and I will press the button to launch the slide.
Press the button, Diana. Let's do this.
You ready? Here we go. Right, stand back. So you're going to need to get all your pens ready, pens and paper, get your bits sorted out, and be ready for this. This is one map you're really going to want to print off and pin on the wall. Richard.
We are planning to do 6 events next year. We've got the usual European ship rounds, which will be in Spain, France, the UK and Poland. But we've also got 3 in the UK. In April, we're bringing back Bovington. The Battle of Bovington is back. Then in July, we will have the King of Britain. And then we'll do the Essential again in October. And what nobody knows is that will form the British Championship. So we're going to have a 3-round British Championship, and that will involve all the standard Ultra 4 classes that we know, and also the Winch Rally Raid classes. So,
superb.
Guys, you've got plenty to go at next year. I know a lot of guys in the UK can't afford to travel across into Europe. And moving forward, we don't know how the UK is going to be able to travel into Europe easily or not easily or whatever. So the commitment the guys have given me this year by turning up in their droves to 2 events that we've put on, we feel duty-bound to give that back and have a chip for next year.
Richard, thank you. I think it's amazing. And Dave Barker, don't go anywhere because we're just about to come straight over to you. But Richard Crosland, Danny Roderick, who's had to go shooting off to work, Paolo Baraldi, Key Dunlop, thank you all so much for joining us tonight on ORW Live. It's been fantastic. I'll tell you what, that was one hell of an event. The ambitious, the challenging, the glorious, and the truly essential 2020. Great
Indeed.
job all round. Thank you
Diana.
so much. Now, before you go, very quickly, I think you've got a little bit of news for Mr. Duffy as well.
Well,
Are you listening,
on
Martin?
on the international scene, Mr. Duffy has been confirmed as one of our main reporters for the Ultra 4 American Nationals in Oklahoma. So he'll be there, and he's now confirmed, and Alan Johnson's waiting to... And it is Alan Johnson, not Jackson.
No, I preferred Jackson. It was like I was talking to somebody famous.
Yeah. I think he prefers Biden, to be fair. You ought to try that one. That's going to be a spiteful one. But yeah, and also on the international scene, we should be having a King race in South Africa next year to go with the Australian and the New Zealand one within a couple of weeks. And we're just expanding the global family.
Superb. Richard Crosland, cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much. Brilliant. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you, guys.
Just superb.
Well done.
So my thanks to all of them. And keep on up. Now, do stay around if you want to. I'm going to fly over to Mr. David Barker. Thank you for your patience, David. Are you still there? I think he is. Yeah, I can see him.
Of course I'm still here. Of course I am.
You're very
nice to hear there's some alternative motorsport events for next year planned. And, next year is certainly going to be a very, very busy year with events. British Championships already got its dates in, new venues, new rounds, other clubs joining in as well, which is excellent.
Well, let's take a little look at home front, and we've got a few things. Like I said earlier on, a bit of a mixed bag as well. Now, I think to start off, we've got a little bit of news.
Yeah, well, yes, the Borders Safari, Borders Hill Rally, or whatever we really want to know it as. Unfortunately, they've taken the decision that because of the Scottish regulations and mixing and everything else, they've had to postpone or cancel, or whichever way you want to look at it. And I think one or two other clubs are seriously looking at what's happening at the moment. Some clubs are definitely taking the precautions of cancelling their events at the moment, particularly from the car side anyway. But Nork are out this weekend at Stainby. Peak and Dukeries are...
Hang on. Let me
sorry.
Yep.
Press the button.
Go too fast for me.
Press the button.
Nork. So Nork are where it's...
Nork are at Stainby. Got a one-day comp. I think it's one day anyway. Maybe two. But again, unfortunately, no spectators, despite there was a club blatantly inviting spectators last weekend along to one of their trials.
There's no fine.
I've no idea what action will happen or not happen. We'll wait to see. But yeah, no spectators. Marshals are always required. Peak and Dukeries are also out this weekend. They've a full day trialling on a Saturday and a comp safari on the Monday. And likewise, they are asking for marshals, so they must be short. So if you fancy a weekend at, Newton Lodge, which is somewhere in the Midlands. So... but there's also trials. Chiltern Vale, Nero, Breckland, Pennine, and I think Scottish have even got a trial on this weekend. Trial events are happening all over the place, but they're very much ad hoc, if you like. Clubs are fitting them in when they can, when they've got land, and they've also got entries because, nothing's permanent at the moment, unfortunately.
Quite low-key too.
Quite low-key, yeah. Mudmasters is still going ahead on 24th, 25th.
Yeah, we had a lovely chat with last week.
Last week we did, but I think it's still going ahead. Again, crews have got to be from the same household. I assume the military are classed as one big household.
Yeah,
so
Bobby Muir. We'll get Bobby Muir on again to tell us more about that, because that does look really, really exciting. Yeah.
New venues for them, I think, and a lot shorter distance. And obviously, Scotland's now gone dry, I believe, so there won't be any drinking half time. But yeah, I mean, other events are, unfortunately being cancelled. Disco, birthday, Camel Trophy, and the Malachi in November has been cancelled as such because they haven't got the venue, so they aren't going to run the Malachi, Lincolnshire Land Rover Club, but they are going to run a comp safari that weekend. So that's 28th, 29th of November, subject to them finding an alternative site, but it won't be the traditional Malachi.
And they've been... Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and again, it's clubs are running events where they can. Everything's slotting in, and hopefully, everything's keeping going.
Well, we did get one date for next year to put in your diaries. Hopefully, all things being equal, Billing Off-Road Show, 26th, 27th of June, 2021.
Yep, that's keeping its traditional, original date. So that's certainly on. And one or two of the other shows have also got their dates. They're just moving them to next year, really. I think everyone is really starting to look at writing this year off now. Just keep going where they can and hope for the best for next year.
I know Land Rover had already put their date and said, yeah, just hold yourself for next year because we're going to be back bigger and better, etc. And so same date, same place, same time, all the rest of it, hopefully. So that should be, let's keep our fingers crossed it's going to be a better year. But in the meantime, we've had a lot of people sort of saying about, there have been sort of furloughed and jobs being lost. But we've also got a lot of people. We had Harper Adams on talking about work placements and everything. So we thought we'd start a section and we've called it Just the Job. And there are jobs. And we put a couple of these up last week as well. But Gumtree, I know John still has one workshop member short. Land Rover Focus and some interesting projects going on as well there. It's a great opportunity to work for a long-established, hugely respected team, and it's guaranteed to be interesting as well because I think working with John Pound is always going to be fun anyway. So if anybody's interested, go onto the Gumtree website. Now, I know you've got to go in a second, Dave Barker, so thank you very much for sticking with us.
Just before I do go, if the clubs are out there listening, send us the dates, what they've got, what they're running, what help they need with marshals or whatever. Let us know what's happening out there because, websites aren't working at the moment. They're not up to date. It's very much ad hoc. Let us know. Tell us what's going on.
Excellent. Thanks, Dave. Superb. And it appears there still is plenty going on. So, a little bit changed, but we're muddling through and getting there thanks to all is putting in some tremendous work behind the scenes, really tremendous work behind the scenes. But yeah, still on the job front then, Just the Job and new feature. If anybody has got jobs, placements or anything like that, do get in touch. Devon 4x4, they're still looking for an experienced motor technician. Again, great history with Devon 4x4 in competitions, some really interesting projects, accessories, all sorts there as well. Always very forward thinking. So Simon Buck and Liz, you'll know them. If you fancy that in your sort of Devon base, then there's the place to go. They've got a lovely job there. Dunlop.E2021, he's still looking, if you want to work on a car like this, still got a vacancy in the workshops, dedicated cross-country race vehicle design, build and competition preparation. And working on cars like Justin Birchall's triple winning car, that one. Beautiful, beautiful thing. They're also working on some new cars as well. Really, really exciting stuff going on there and can't wait for next season. We maybe see Richard Kershaw out in a loft house as well, which would be great after a few years break. Gigglepin, global company now. Great opportunities there. Proficiency, somebody who's pretty good at Photoshop, Illustrator, those two sort of formats, as well as knowledge of Windows-based computer software. They're looking for a graphic designer. Now that, I think, would be the world's best job because their logo is just divine to play around with. It's superb. So manage, update and create catalogues, correlate the web shop to match the catalogues, vice versa, product marketing. It's all those lovely jobs that you can really get your teeth into. Clothing design, hats, t-shirts, etc. Event literature, online order processing from intake to dispatch, customer services. A great job. And, they really are. They say they're a fun, dynamic, forward-thinking company, and they really, really are. And they do things just a little differently. So well worth going to the Gigglepin site for that. Also, they've got 2 positions available for vehicle technician and trainee vehicle technician. It's a really exciting time with them. I think they're based in Weald of Kent, I think it is, yeah. Specialise in Land Rovers, so servicing and repairs is an advantage if you're on that, but not essential. Looking for individuals who'd like an opportunity to have varied but interesting roles. So that's a full-time vehicle technician and a trainee vehicle technician. So go on, get onto the Gigglepin site. You'll find it on Facebook as well on their Gigglepin page. If you scroll down, you'll see the 2 jobs advertised. And as Jim says, if you invest in Gigglepin, they'll invest in your personal development. Great company to work for. So we'll try and post these on Off-Road Worldwide, but there are some cracking jobs out there, honestly. Do get in touch with any of those. So that's Gigglepin, Lofthouse Motorsport, Devon 4x4 and Gumtree, 3 of our finest off-road companies looking for staff. So go grab them. And let us know if you've got any positions, apprenticeships, placements, anything like that. And we'll get Harper Adams back on again very shortly to have a chat about it, and maybe get some more employers on as well to talk it through. But it's time to head out into the big wide world now. Dave Marsh from Dave Marsh Racing, of course. I think it's time we did our international briefs.
Good evening.
Where have we got to?
Quite a bit going on. Some changes as well. So currently we've got the Andalucia Rally running, which is really exciting. That's the event that replaced the Rally to Morocco, because obviously we can't run in Morocco. And funnily enough, I was gently reminded of my antics 2 years ago with Richard Hayward, where we were hit from the behind on a triple caution in the night. And we spent quite a few hours taking the car to pieces, and the Bowler Motorsport team came out and saved the day with a load of parts and got the car going about 70 miles from the service area. So it was quite an event, really. But they're now running in the southern part of Spain, the Andalucia area, on a Shamrock event. So they're all based at one location and doing loops out. So this morning, the prologue started pretty early. The teams are using as a real shakedown for Dakar. So most of the pro teams are there. Gazoo Racing with the Toyotas, X-Raid are there, Optimus as well, they're running, and also Century Racing from South Africa as well in the two-wheel drive buggy. So we saw Nasser Al-Attiyah take the pole position in the prologue this morning, which was a 9-kilometer sprint. Carlos Sainz was running the two-wheel drive Mini, and Stefan Hansel went off the line in one of the four-wheel drive Minis. There's obviously a bit of tactics going on because of the ground conditions. They claim that the second two-wheel drive car wasn't quite ready, but I'm not sure about that. But then after the first stage this afternoon, we've got Al-Raj Yazid of Yazidi Racing, who's driving one of the Toyotas overdrives. He's actually leading with 2 hours and 5 minutes, and just over a 2-minute lead on Carlos Sainz in the two-wheel drive Mini. And then Nasser is 26 seconds behind him in third place. So it's pretty tight. And I'm not sure, again, whether there's a bit of tactics going on, because the early cars will obviously be on the loose stuff. So whether Peter Hansel, who's currently lying ninth, is playing the master game and allowing the front runners to sweep the course for him, and we'll see how that develops. But that's going to be relevant.
It is a bit of a shakedown, as you say, for the Dakar, isn't it? And I think that the Dakar's looking really interesting. You know, Sebastian Loeb and Nani Roma, those signs are just so exciting. And I don't know what it is about this year, but for some reason, when I saw that Carlos Sainz and Stefan Petanson had X-Ray team, of course, you know, you've got, I think Sainz, did he win it the last 2 years?
Yeah, he won it last year, yeah.
And Stefan Peter Hansel, I mean, how many times, you know?
It's, I forget now how many it is now. It's 14 or 15 wins, I think he has.
Yes, it is. It's one of the other, isn't it? And then you've got Sebastian Loeb and you've got Nani Roma. And the experience with them as well is just extraordinary. And that's just 2 crews. And I don't know why, but it just feels that this year is just really looking so exciting already.
I think it's going to be really intense, because obviously we lost Peugeot 2 years ago was the last outing for the Works Peugeot team. So now we're going to have 3 major Works players in the game again, with ProDrive, as you say, with Nani, and sensationally really with Sebastian as well. And Nani's fantastic character, really, really stable and level. He's come back from Borgward, who he drove from last year in the Dakar. But ProDrive are out testing as we speak now. Yes. So whilst it's going on in southern Spain, ProDrive are off with their car, and I know they've given us some tasters of what it might look like. But I think we'll have to see if we can speak to Alan McGuinness, there's the team manager, and see if we can come and have a little chat with us about progress. But I think Dakar will be a really interesting.
I think that's going to be a new car for them, isn't it?
Yeah,
a whole new car, isn't it?
Yeah, it's completely scratch built. It's in I believe it's in the V6 petrol turbo class, which is the new. They've now allowed turbocharged cars in the petrol category this year, which is a first. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch, to see how that performs. And I'm sure a lot of other teams will be looking on as to how that will run. But yeah, there's going to be some real competition, and having some real fantastic drivers in 3 works teams. There'll be a real battle royal going on when they arrive in Saudi Arabia.
Well, that's a very good one for that, because that is, of course, the Bahrain Road Extreme, which is very royal indeed.
Yeah.
So that, quite good wording there. But it does, ProDrive, they are just extraordinary, aren't they? We should be so proud of them as a British company. And I think they've created ProDrive International specifically so that they can work with Bahrain to create this car and this team. And I thought, it's the best signing I've seen since Colin McRae, and Richard Burns. It's the most exciting thing I've seen. I love it. So I'm already getting excited for the Dakar. We haven't even got there yet. So. So what else? I know we've got Rally Greece there. Rally Greece off road.
That's still going ahead. Funny enough, I've got I think one of my customers, he should have received it all today. So he's kitting one of his cars out with one of our suspension kits ready for that race. And it was one that we were really hoping to try and attempt, because it's normally scheduled for the early part of the year. It's in May. But the location is fantastic. It's based in a town called Kastoria in northern Greece, right in the North Macedonia area. Fantastic area. I did with the Greek Baja. I'm showing my age now, about 18 years ago. And the event itself is fantastic. And it's just a shame it can't be embraced at the level it would normally be with spectators, but they absolutely love it out there, and it's a great event. So again, that's another one to watch, sort of one of the lesser events, but certainly one that will be watched with a lot of interest.
We'll try and get some footage up on that as well. So what else have you been up to, Dave Marsh of Dave Marsh Racing?
Getting wet and reminding myself as why trialling can be rather damp.
Well, we're gonna move now on to trialling, because we've got 2 very interesting juxtapositions. It's a back-to-back trial. Dave, you have the most wonderful history in off-road motorsport, and I can remember, and as you say, going back a few years, when Dave Marsh was the man to beat. Trialing, comping, the QT cars were just the cars to have. It was exciting. And I don't think you've been trialing for a while, have you?
No, I only blow the dust off the car occasionally, and I blame Fraser Parish entirely. He suggested that we went, and then he cleverly stayed at home.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, well, good move, Fraser. So, Dave, tell us, where have you been?
So we were at Tredinick, which is a fantastic little site, little quarry site that looks right down over Padstow, or apparently it does when you can actually see it, and out to Poltec, allegedly. But yeah, beautiful little spot, super little trial, and the Cornwall Devon Land Rover Club set an event up, which was a joint RTV and CCV. And as Dave Barker rightly said, numbers are difficult, access is difficult. So it was a great way of being able to pull an event together with different disciplines and have a fun and well ventilated, I think would be the right word. There was no issues with COVID. If anybody was going to catch COVID, it would have been in Plymouth from where we were. So yeah, it was a great day out, and nice to be back. Sort of bit of light-hearted fun, and what was nice is one of my old cars won as well, which was nice.
Oh, so I've got to find one. I want a QT car. Yeah. That's got to be the next.
So we had Tyler Skelly, he won the trial in one of my old pro trials, Phil Hayes' old car, and he's had a bit of bad luck because he's been trying to get his compo ready, and he's broken down on the first lap of the last 2 events he's entered. So he finally got a good day on Sunday and won the trial. So congratulations to him. And Ken Brain won the RTV, and that was his first time back.
Ken Brain.
Yeah, and he broken wrist. So yeah, really good day out.
Ah, there's a name to remember. Well, I think we're just going to have to take a look at it, Mr. Marsh.
Oh, dear.
Brace yourself. So here we are. We're going to take a trip down to Cornwall now, a bang up-to-date trial with the great Cornwall and Devon Land Rover Club, and your commentator, of course, our very own Off-Road Worldwide Live, Mr. Dave Marsh.
Well, here we are at Tredinick Trial. Needless to say, the weather has arrived, and I've forgotten what trialling was like. But it's great fun. First section are clear, and we're just looking at the second section now. Tad windy and a tad wet. Good day for a windscreen, which we've left at home. But you can probably hear the wind as well. And we'd love to show you the view of the Atlantic, but we can't.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave, and we will have to talk over the music a little bit as well because of rights, etc., which the budget doesn't quite stretch to. So maybe turn the volume down a little, Giles, if we can. Always been for thank you. So, Dave, like I say, a really good cross-section of vehicles at the trial as well.
Yeah, it was. A bit of everything. Series 1, 80s, Defenders, Discoveries, and obviously the obligatory Cornwall and Devon 80-inch specials, which we thrive on. So yeah, it was a real good cross section. Great ground conditions as well. So there's plenty to get your teeth into. And Gary White, who set the trial up, did a super job.
It looks great. But as you say, what a great little site too.
Yeah, it's superb. The club also use it for Comp Safari, which I think they're going to try and run one in November. So yeah, a great little spot, nice and compact, and for trialing, it's a real good opportunity to get out without too much damage, especially for RTV cars as well. So it was good in that respect.
So just so we can have a little comparison, what's the kind of in this day and age now? Because any minute, when we finish, we're going to be going back to the 70s. So what would you say is the main engine, the main suspension at the moment that have brought the cars up to this standard?
I think people in the past, really focused on engine performance, and really it's not about that so much. It's all about the suspension gaining traction, and obviously with ALRC cars, the limitations are there. You can't run limited slip diffs, you can't run anything like that. But certainly maximising the benefits from some of the Land Rover products. The viscous coupled transfer boxes, but really refining the suspension so that's going to give you the maximum traction. And the other thing that's changed now is the tyres as well. There's some very, very aggressive tyres which are ALRC legal, which are really giving the benefit. So there's, in the past, we were leaf sprung and very limited on travel, whereas now we're able to maximise that. And obviously coupled with engine developments as well. But you can see some people favour the diesel with the torque, and obviously with any form of trialling, there's that form of compromise. Is my door not shut properly? But
is that not? It was always the problem with the 80, wasn't it?
Yes, but it's there is that balance, but that suspension element is the real focus for the ones that are really serious to get that traction, and we've obviously spent a lot of effort with our car in doing that.
Well, neatly driven there as well. But what was it like to get back into, because you haven't done it, as you said earlier, you really haven't done a trial for quite some time now.
Yeah, well, it was great. Jack, my stepson, he was persuaded to come and have a day's navigating, and it was just really nice. It's great to catch up with some old faces, have a good day, just fun motorsport, without any pressure, enjoy some company and enjoy what the club does really, really well. So, yeah, that grassroots bit is fundamental to us moving forwards as well, especially once COVID's clear. We really need grassroots competitors to carry this sport forward and go on to the bigger things as well.
And plenty of marshals. I mean, obviously down there, if you're on holiday or something, you're a marshal, that's the place to pop over and get a really good view.
Yeah. I think about that many that day if we'd have gone to, but no, the marshals, I mean, that day, crikey, they were brilliant. That endured everything and having to put up with that and not have a bit of fun driving was hats off to them.
There's some very tasty cars as well. Really nice cars there, aren't there?
Yeah, there is a Mike Woodgate there for that's Dartmoor 4x4. And passenger in that's Roger Italic. Now Roger goes back with the Cornwall. Yes. So I mean,
I used to try against him.
Yeah. So there's people that are there that wouldn't even know who he was, but it was Roger goes back 30 plus years really doing this. So
goodness,
it was great. Yeah, great to see those faces out there.
Oh, say goodness, that now that does take me back. That's quite great. Yeah, I should have to come down and have a marshal for you one day. But that's a great film for the Cornwall and Devon Land Rover Club as well. So you can go and have a look at that, and it's great, isn't it?
Yeah. It was it was nice to put something together, and it helps promote more what they do as well.
Well, definitely go down and see the Cornwall and Devon Land Rover Owners Club site. Join up, because they have some of the best sites. You do have some of the best sites. It's one of a really long-serving club as well. It's been going for some time, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's over 30 years now. So
yeah, it's done really well.
Yeah.
And it was always one of the ones to take on. You've held nationals, all sorts as well.
Yeah, British Championship rounds, nationals. I think I've run 3 nationals.
Yes.
First one was 1980 something or other.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. It's a great history to that club, superb. But that's trialling bang up today. It's still really, really easy to get into. But we're going to now take us all back a little bit. Janet Buckingham. I have to say thank you to Janet and all of the Buckinghams for letting us do this. Janet, you have found an absolute treasure trove of wonderful 8mm films. I've got to get films, if you use the right word, that's okay. But they're really incredible, aren't they? We can't thank you enough for letting us, because Giles obviously has downloaded them and got so we can use them on the show as well. And obviously you're getting your copy, but we can't thank you enough for it. It's just superb, isn't it?
It is. It's surprising on what there is, really. We were surprised. I mean, when Giles sent me the link through today and I watched it, I had sort of had tears in my eyes, because it was sort of seeing my dad and my sister who are no longer with us, and sort of other ones like Barry Redmond and Dave Sarsford Hall, and even you seeing Val Elsdon on there. It was quite emotional, because you sort of, they were sort of like family. The off-road is a family, really, isn't it?
It is, and you're right, and it continues even now. People still say it's the off-road family, and it's absolutely true. These films, though, where did you find them?
Well, they're Tommy's, and obviously my mother-in-law died earlier this year, and Tom's been having a sort of a bit of a clear out, and he found his films and thought, oh, we'll have a look at these. And when Giles said to me that he would sort of put it onto disc for me, I brought them down to you. So it'd be nice, because we haven't sort of, as I said, when we saw the safari ones, we hadn't seen them for so many years. It's sort of nice to sort of see what there is.
Well, we're hoping we might get Sophie Revin and a couple of others to come on a little bit later. They might join us with a bit of luck and come and talk these through as well, because this one's quite special. And there are some very, very famous faces in it as well. And Dave Marsh, if you're still around, it'd be wonderful to have a look at the change in technology from what we've just seen with the Cornwall and Devon to go right back, All-Wheel Drive Club, back in the 1970s, and it's a wonderful bit of footage. Janet, I'm really glad you had a look at it first up, because some of those names are names that we still know, as we said with Brian Tulloch as well. Alan Priddy, we were talking to him just a couple of weeks ago. John Coghlan, he's on quite regularly. But it's amazing how many people stick around and stay with the sport, and it really is in your blood, isn't it?
It is. It certainly is. But no, it's really nice, and I was able to give you some names which I've sent to you and Giles. So hopefully I'll remember in which order when I see it again.
Well, I think we're going to play it out now, Giles. We're going to sort of ask Giles to actually play it because it's slightly different. It has to be done slightly different. So once Giles has got that lined up, we're going to take you back now with the All Drive Club, courtesy of Janet, Tommy, and David Buckingham and the whole Buckingham family. Wonderful set. I'm glad Charlie Moore's with us as well. Brilliant, because you're going to enjoy this a lot, Charlie, I think. And we'll take you back to the 70s and have a look at what trialling was like back in the day with the All Drive Club. So the one thing with these, there is no soundtrack at all with them.
No, so that's David. That's our road vehicle, which he still drives today.
Do you know which site it is?
I haven't the foggiest idea. It could be Weavers. It could be Broxhead. I don't know. I would imagine it's somewhere in the southeast.
It's blooming hot anyway. Can you imagine Charlie without your shirt on now?
You'll see some of the naked men. That's my dad in cream puff. So people who know him as Brian Bunce. And he was the trials coordinator for the All Drive Club at the time. That's Tommy.
That's the road going one again.
That's the road going one, yeah. This is before David built the racer. So he started trialing in this one in 72, I think.
Love all the fashion wear with it as well, as everybody's just fantastic, isn't it? I just love these old films. Dave Marsh, when you look at some of these cars, actually,
No. Obviously, some of the issues are that we are bound by rules that dictate they've got to remain the same, same look and silhouette. But these cars are still competitive, and it's a tribute to the vehicle itself, really, how capable they are in standard form in off-road. So whilst we have moved on, you can't take away from the fact the concept of the vehicle itself has got some fantastic underpinnings in terms of its off-road performance.
Look, we do see some very interesting roll cages as well.
Yes, I think, or non-roll cages, I think might be the best word for them. And I always remember sort of introducing full roll cages for us, with having seen so many close shaves with just hoops before, with Coleman and Devon. And I say, you look back at it now and you think, oh gosh, there by the grace of God go we, sort of thing.
I tell you, Janet, the other thing as well, that was your dad, wasn't it, Janet? That was work. I mean, that steering wheel was really busy, and clearly no power steering, and the full-size steering wheel. And, still 2 of my fingers don't work properly from getting it trapped, and the wheel giving a spin back. I think we've all got scars for it. It was hard work.
Oh, it is. And we still haven't got power. That's John Coghlan there. We still haven't got power steering in our vehicle now. So it's just like a standard Land Rover.
I've got fond memories of a trial in Cornwall with a guy called Lawrence Gay, who was like a honey monster. And we were going down into the section, and he actually pulled the steering wheel clean off the car. As I was navigating for him. And I was sort of fairly insistent that he put it back on as quickly as possible as well.
I think this is Weavers, because I think that's in the bowl. They had to do a section and go round, but not go over your tyre tracks again. It's sort of a bit of a... So this was an expert's trial.
Fantastic.
It's fantastic. Superb to see. I just absolutely love it. I just absolutely love it. But on that steering wheel, we were doing a team recovery, and we used to have 3 teams in the All Drive Club. So we had three cars, and we had to do this real steep climb. And I remember one of the team I was with, they said, "Yeah, you'll drive it, I said, "Not a chance." I was in somebody else's Land Rover as well, and had the full bumper on, so it was set up for like ALRC. We were doing an All Drive Club thing, and I just thought it's never going to go. I need to be anyway. Wouldn't have it, so I thought, well, I'm just going to attack it. So I went backwards, absolutely flew at this blooming cliff, caught my fingers, those two fingers there, and felt it get ripped by the steering wheel. I was so angry. I was so annoyed. I was like, I told you. So we got through, finished the day. I got home, and I was in the bath, and I put my hand through the water like that, and those 2 fingers stayed right back there. Honestly, all the ligaments, everything, absolutely shot. It was the most painful thing ever, and it's still a... Now, the things we used to do, and you still go back for more.
Yeah, it's infectious, I think. That's what it is.
Yeah. That isn't me dying that car. That's my sister Val.
I love that.
That with me, but it's not. She's my younger sister. Well, they're all younger than me, but yeah.
That must be quite emotional for you as well, Janet, to see Val.
It is, yeah. So that's my dad, and I think that's David. again with Val in there.
Oh,
So
that's
no,
it.
so you haven't got me in passenger at all. You've got Dave's sister, but you haven't. I'm not in there, so I'm either marshalling or videoing. Well, not video, taking the film.
You did a great, great job. But this is the thing with some of these films, and it is quite emotional watching them. We see some of the people and everything. It's really, really lovely. So when you found, Giles sent you down this one, and you're seeing people, and especially as you say, Val, that must be a really kind of heartwarming sweetness about it, something just precious that you've still got hold of. I think it's wonderful.
It is, because Val hated her photo taken, so we don't have many photos of Val at all. So to actually see her on film is really nice. It's really good, actually. So I'll have to show her children. Well, if I actually get to see them, but yeah. So I'll have to show them, because they wouldn't believe that their mum used to do this.
That's what I think is so lovely. When you see that'll be John.
And I think that's Gilly in the passenger seat there.
I love it. Well, John sent his apologies. He couldn't make it tonight, but hopefully, because he hadn't got Gilly there doing the technical stuff for him, but hopefully he'll be back on very soon.
I did say he'd come here, but he's an hour away from me, so...
That's a bit too far. I'm just saying, was the tailgate open? Did I see then? Really,
it is, yeah. Which was nothing unusual for John, really. He's either that or he loses the doors, because I went round the trial section and we lost a door, so...
So what he was saying, Dave, that it was either your fingers got ripped off because of the steering wheel, or it was Land Rover elbow. So who've we got?
That's Tommy.
Where's Charlie? Charlie Moore. This must have been kind of your era as well, I should think.
A bit before my time.
Was it?
My time, yeah.
No, I thought you were still trialing this. I thought you'd started in the 70s. No.
Well, I think Charlie would actually know this, because I've been going through the old all-wheel drivers, and Charlie used to write articles. So I was looking at when we had the small magazines, not the big ones you get one now, but yeah. But no, so I think Charlie was around, but just doesn't remember. I think it's Double Arches Quarry.
Yeah, remember that place.
Is that the one that's all been built all over now?
I don't know.
Yes.
That's the Leighton Buzzards it could have been. Yeah.
Such a shame. Such a shame. Some great sites. There were some great sites. So who's that one there?
I don't know who that is.
A little bit of recovery coming up. Now look at that, Dave. Nice bit of rope and a good old kinetic.
You've seen Mr. Rowe in some of these as well, Diana.
Yes, I think you're right. There's been a couple of moments when I've thought.
Yeah, I think that's. I don't know that. Is that that could be Pete Chapman or Dave? No, that's Pete Chapman, I think.
If anybody's watching and you can identify any of these,
that's Dave Chapman. He was a member of the ARC, Anglian Rover Owners.
Oh no, there's another old club as well. They're great. They were still are very, very, very good.
Yeah. Well, Andy Flanders would be a good one to sort of get to give names on here as well.
Yeah, we should have got Andy in actually.
Because there used to be Dave and his brother Pete, and their wives. Dave's wife was Phil, and Pete's wife was Linda, and they used to both trial as well.
Yeah, if anybody's you can identify, I love that crane down there. That'd be interesting to see now. But if anybody's watching and you know any of the drivers or the year or the event or who won or anything, we'd love to know. So you can pop a little message underneath the live feed.
In Cream Puff.
Ah, right. So he'd be double driving with your dad.
Well, it could have been triple driven. I expect David was driving it as well.
Right. Oh, so Gordon Brown, does it make you feel like getting out there doing a bit of trialling?
It does, and I have actually done a little bit of trialling, albeit very, very informally, in a club in a Land Rover Freelander.
Oh, there you go.
And I have actually got some video of it, so I must try and look that out.
That I would like to see.
Vehicle, David.
So there is one slight problem with the Freelander because of its viscous coupling. Is it only sort of engages full four-wheel drive once you've stopped moving and the wheels.
Yeah.
So they made a discretionary allowance for that. But yeah, it was quite an interesting experience. I wasn't very good at it, but yeah. So I've tried it. I'm not sure my Discovery 4 would be quite right for it though.
It'd be interesting to put.
So that's my dad. And the vehicle before that was Phyllis Chapman.
Ah, right. Yes, that was Dave's wife.
Dave Chapman's wife. Yeah.
That's right. Oh, Rory's joined us. Lovely. To be an eye opener, Rory.
I think Sophie's watching this from the sort of Facebook thing. She's not joined us on Zoom. So when I looked, she put saying that she was watching. So
well done, Sophie. Sophie, one day it'd be lovely if you could get on. And if you ever see Thump, of course.
Yeah, you just seen Barry stood there. I think that's Graham Edmonds, the shit and steam wagon. Oh no, it wasn't. That was Tony Suds. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Really heavy on the Series 1s, isn't it? Really heavy. But the tyres, Dave, what would they have been running?
I think this was a team recovery, Diana.
I think you're right.
Yeah, so there's...
I think that's why they're recovering each other. Yeah. So it's a team recovery.
I think you're right. That must be one of the earliest team recovery videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're using bar tracks, and I'm trying to think of the name of another one that always used to be popular, but
we ran on dumper tyres, which are the
Yeah.
So there was Regent Newcraft as well.
That's it. Yeah, Newcrafts. That's the one, Dave. That's the one. They were the ones to have, weren't they?
Yeah, and I've still got a full set as well.
We've still got the original air in.
No, the brand new tyres kept under the cover, so they haven't seen the light of day.
Goodness me.
That's Dave's dad stood there.
So, Dave Mitchell, where would you have been trialling at this point? Because we're talking about...
in the late 60s, it was all Peak and Dukeries, Pennine, and then in 71, when Langston Cheshire was formed in Yorkshire, so really all my trials were sort of north. But I did all the Euro Drive Club trials in Blackpool and around there, and not necessarily in a Land Rover either.
Oh, yeah? What did you drive then?
Well, I used to work for Heron Motor Company, and of course they imported Suzuki's.
That's Dave Sarsfield Hall.
Oh, gosh,
that's
there's
Alan
a name. That's Alan driving?
I think that's Alan Priddy.
Wow.
Because he didn't always have Suzuki. He used to sometimes have a Jeep that he used to do.
Right.
I don't know who that is. So the racer, so Dave's now got the racer out now.
Oh, well, Sophie, if you're watching, Sophie, if you can identify anybody, just jot it down. It'd be lovely. It'd be nice to put some names to, especially the as well, because you'd be surprised who's there.
We might, because Barry will be here. We should have a little Sophie, as I.
Oh yes, yeah, of course. So back on the chart. Do you know what site that one is?
No.
It
looks like it's a winter one.
Oh, first of the high-vis jackets, look.
I think that was me running up the hill.
There's a lot of people there, a lot of spectators. Rory, this is for you, because clearly nowhere near then. You weren't even thought of when this is around. This is great, isn't it?
Jeff Goodwin in that red top.
Yeah.
I think that's Lowell Hall. Looks like Lowell Hall.
You know, it's the coats and the stripy jackets and everything, isn't it? Goodness, that's definitely, isn't it?
It's either 70s or early 80s or 1980.
I think 70, yeah. I think 70s. So who was the Haflinger driver? Because we identified them last week, didn't we? Or a week before.
Yeah, I don't know who the Haflinger one is there. It could be Colin Young. I don't really know. Dave Geach, but he didn't have a cut top on his.
No. I love that exhaust. Look at that.
Yeah, I think David's got his sister in with him there.
Cracking pair of flares.
We knew the fashion then.
Absolutely. Just waiting for a pair of Bay City roller screws.
No.
Oh, that was nearly a. So I think Dave Marsh, the format still the same.
Yeah, and I think that's the enduring thing. It shows the actual event itself that really works and continues to do so. I know we can see obviously All Drive Club running variations on that theme with the number of gates, but it's a great way of getting out there and competing on a level playing field.
I think this is Edge Hill, Diana.
Yeah, could be.
That's a cracking turnout, isn't it?
They used to have big entries for the trials because there used to be several groups going around. It wasn't just the one group.
Yeah, I remember that too. I mean, we used to have a lot of entries. They'd be queued right back up. It used to be really...
That's Gary Dawson in the khaki top.
Oh my gosh. So when did you start trialling, Dave Marsh?
First trial, I was 19, so how long's that ago? I don't know, 37 years ago. And before that, I was motorcycle trial, so that's where I came from. So yeah, Montesas and the like with motorcycle trials, and then a good friend of mine, he had an 86-inch V8 Series 1, and I got bitten by the bug.
I did it the other way around. I swapped mine for a motorbike. I went motorbike trialing. I was quite sure it'd be just as easy, but it wasn't.
Diana, I'm going to have to go, I'm afraid. So please forgive me, or I'll catch up with you next week.
Dave Marsh, thank you ever so much. Absolutely brilliant. And thank you for sharing your trials video with us as well, so we could do the two back-to-back. That was lovely.
You're welcome. Cheers now.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks ever so.
Bye. Yeah, that's Dave Chapman. The Land Rover before that was Dave Sarsfield Hall.
Look at that. I love it. I wonder where all these vehicles are now. So that roll cage stood the test, didn't it?
They did. It was a hoop going over.
Exactly.
Makes you wonder now. There's Barry Redman, Dave Sarsfield Hall walking along there. That's Dave Bridle.
Oh, and I don't even know that name, Dave Bridle. No, that's a great car.
I think he lived in Windlesham, I think.
Right.
That's Dave Chapman again.
I'd just love to know where these cars are now. If they still are. Yes.
That's in the blue hat is Gary Dawson. There's Dave Sarsfield Hall with the red top on there. David with the wellies on.
Goodness, what a lovely record of such an era, though. Look at that yellow. Wow, that's quite...
Brian Hall there.
Yeah, I was just going to say that chap in the corner. Yeah, crikey. But what a wonderful record of an era. What a wonderful record. And when you start to see all the way the cars, how they've all developed. Martin Duffy, when did you start? It must have been after this, I guess, wouldn't it?
Yeah, my first all-wheel drive club experience was Hill Rally 77.
Oh, really? It's earlier than I thought then.
That's where Martin joined. I saw where he joined in the back of one of the magazines.
Oh, really?
We joined about the same time, even though I'd been going to events beforehand. I didn't join until about 77, so we joined about the same time.
It's incredible.
It's about picking up to carry it away.
It's like last week.
No,
I know. We're only 18, Martin. We're doing brilliantly.
Yeah.
We have to keep up with Diana. Wherever she says she is, that's what we are.
Absolutely. Stick. I'll keep us right. Look at that. I know. See, and Dave Geach's is like but he's still got his as well. I'd love to get Dave Geach on here for a chat. But he's still got his Haflinger as well.
Yeah, would Dave Geach come on here though?
Don't know, he might. Let's talk him into it.
We'll have
Sure
to
he
get
would,
some
of
of
course he
the videos that David took, because I think we got some of Dave Geach at Sidbury.
Oh, brilliant.
So we'll have to get some things. That's Graham Edmonds just putting the back down on that half.
Yeah. Oh, I love these. If we do 4x4 Expo again with the ORM zone, we should have to have these. If you'd be kind enough to let us have some of these playing in the background, that would be lovely to
fine.
see.
That's Dave's sister in there as a passenger. She obviously trusted her brother's driving harness on.
Because it used to be lap belts, all you had to have was a lap belt, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, she has looked proper strapped in.
Yeah, foot harness. She thought they were racing. So she obviously didn't trust her brothers. That's David driving there. I must admit, a couple of times I thought, Sav, is that David or Tommy?
Even you thought that.
I should know which one I'm married to, really, shouldn't I? That's Dave Sarsfield Hall.
Should have got John Elston on, actually. What did he trial or was he just comps, though?
I think he did do a few trials.
Yeah.
He didn't do many, but he did do a few trials. That's Barry Redman with Thumper.
Oh, Sophie.
Yeah, so that's Thumper.
Hope Sophie's still watching.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lovely moment.
Well, she did say she's going to have the tissues ready, so...
Oh, so
that's Tony Westaway, and his passenger is Jeff Ramsden, and Jeff Ramsden used to drive Black Widow.
Ah, yeah.
It used to be the three of them. Dave Sarsfield Hall, Barry, and Jeff used to be the three together. Yeah, I don't know who that is. So,
Charlie, can you shed any light on any of them?
No, nobody that's not been mentioned.
Not your crew, no, not your crew. It's funny, isn't it? I'd love to find some early ones of the Devon crew.
That could be Ron Hodgson or Alex Gold.
Ron Hodgson, really?
It could have been. Or Alex Gold.
No, is that it? Oh, I just don't want
That's
that
all,
to
folks.
end. Oh, brilliantly well done, Janet. Thank you so much. I'll tell you, absolutely enlightening. I just love it. There are plenty more to go yet as well. So, and I know Dave Mitchell has also said you've got a few films lurking that we could have a look at.
Many.
You've got a few more than me as well. And I've got 30 odd, so yeah, could be interesting. I think we've got a few weeks worth. So we're toying with the idea, as Dave suggested, if we have to take the, when we take our week off, which will be the week after next, we'll take a break so we can catch everything up. And also because we are creating a new studio at the moment as well. For me, ta-da, which would be great fun. I actually see what I'm doing maybe, which would be fabulous. So when we take that week off to do that, what we're going to try and do is maybe see if during those every 6th week that we take a break, they've suggested showing some of the videos, which I think is a great idea. So we'll maybe just try and do that. Now we've just got chance one more video, and I think this time we're going to show. There was a choice of 2. Do you want to see ATVs getting really wet and muddy, or did anybody see? I think those that stayed behind last time saw this in any case, but. Did anybody see that Jeep that got stuck on the ridge? We were going to show it last time on the show, we didn't. There was a bit of a problem with this vehicle that got stuck on the Razorback Ridge. So a few of you will have seen it. And honestly, it was steeper than it looks. And it was absolutely perched. Hundreds of feet up. Duffy, you must have sort of heard about this because this is out somewhere. I mean, honestly, it's out on this pinpoint ridge. Did you hear anything about it over there, Martin?
Yeah, it was all over Facebook and stuff. Yeah.
Did you see what happened next?
Well, I mean, they got it out.
They did, and I'm going to show you exactly how they did it as well. This is quite remarkable, but the story that goes with it, I'll have to talk over the top of it because it's you can see it when this video comes up. You can see exactly how precarious this car was. I mean, it really is right on a knife edge. And you look at it and you think, how on earth did they get there? Because this car is so, I mean, look at it, it's really badly on the cusp of going over. But the funny thing is, you look at it and you think, well, what a fool to drive out there from that other side, from there. What a fool to even drive out there. But the truth is, they went out and it was getting a bit dark when they went out and thought, we've made a bit of a mistake, but we're going to have to plough on. They got a bit lost and they ended up on Razorback Ridge. And seriously, this is a ridge like you would not believe. It just drops away hundreds of feet both sides. And if it had just gone over the edge there, it was gone. It was just gone. And so were the occupants. And they couldn't quite see because it was dark. So they'd driven, and you think they must have got a bit worried at this point. They didn't. They'd actually already driven past there. And when you see it come round again and you can see the other end, they had driven to the other end of the ridge, realised they couldn't actually get down from there, couldn't turn, and they were reversing back when they got stuck. I couldn't believe it. Just couldn't believe it. So yeah, this is them actually having reversed back across that ridge. And eventually they did manage to get off. And what they'd done was they dropped the pressure on the tyres that were still on the ridge. They'd managed to drop the pressure down on those so that they could get a little bit of safety. But somebody actually got in it to try and steer it and drive it a little bit. But it is absolutely nuts. You just cannot believe, for the love of you, that they drove it. And I think he just shows you again in a second. I think it spins around to show you the full feat of what they've actually done. But it was the 4x4 crew, a local Jeep crew, who did it. And everybody was quite convinced they were going to have to get a helicopter, because look at it, that's the drop.
No, you'll be, Diana.
Oh,
look at it.
I just couldn't even have gone there. Honestly, I just would have dropped. I think just incredible. But to show the film, and it was on there, Martin, it was up there for a couple of days, I think, wasn't it? There was all these, so how are they going to get it off? Are they going to get a helicopter in, or how's it going to work? And in the end, the Geladas 4x4 crew went to the rescue. And actually, I think did a pretty cracking job. But I couldn't believe it when it said that they'd driven across there, got to the other side, realised they couldn't get off the other side, so they'd reversed back. It's just like, what are you thinking? Never in a million years. Never in a million years. Well, I've just got time to give you a hint of what they get up to. Now, where have we gone to? There we go, yeah. Francois Hollander posted this, and I have to thank you. It's on, if you ever get a chance, go to 4x4 Europods, have a really good look at their pages, because Francois, she is really quick off the mark and finds some incredible stories. So this is Jalpajat in 2017 it is, but this is what they get up to with their ATVs. I just love this. Yeah, hopefully it's going to play out in a sec.
No, I think that one's broken.
Maybe not.
Darn it.
Oh, done. Oh, that'll have to be for. Oh, hang on a second there. Try this one.
Try again. That's still a broken one. No, that's not working.
Oh, down. So we'll have to wait till next time. So there we are then. But honestly, that was ATVs and absolute carnage. Incredible bit of video. So that is all we have time for Off-Road Worldwide this week. And I have to thank everybody for joining us. Our special guest, Paolo Baraldi, thank you so much for coming on. But he's out for an evening with his friends as well. It was just lovely. Danny Roderick for joining us as well, despite having to go on to night shift. So thank you, Danny, for staying with us. Key Dunlop, brilliant rounder for the Essential 2020, and that glorious win. What a win. The whole team should be so proud. We have to thank them all for coming on. And of course, Richard Crosland for again coming on, and that scoop on next year's event, just superb. So there's going to be a UK Ultra 4 Europe Challenge, as well as the full European Challenge, which is just the best news. So I, for one, are going to be downloading that map and getting it on the board, and I should be marking off as they go around. I should probably get all the winners to actually sign it, which I think would be quite fun as well. So we'll be back with loads more next year. Hopefully, Janet will have another video of yours either next week or the week following the week after, because we'll have a week off. But we have to be celebrating Halloween very soon, so we do need the ghost stories as well. So if anybody's got any spooky stories of vehicles, green lanes, anything at all, just any spooky stories to do with Land Rovers or whatever it is, we've got 2 or 3 already, which is great. We would love to hear from you, and we can put those out, so we make it a little bit of a Halloween night as well, which would be quite fun. But from all of us here at Off-Road Worldwide Live, I'd like to say thank you so much for joining us. Sophie or John Cornell, if you're still listening in, if you want to join in the Zoom very quickly, we'll have a quick roundup afterwards, a quick chat with the others on the other side of the credits. Do so, because that won't be going out live, so you're welcome to join us for that. But everybody, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you with more Off-Road Worldwide Live action this time, same time next week. Thank you so much for being with us.